Hello there. Today is day 30 of working on a currently untitled project, so let's hop right in. So today I worked on creating a modular wall system. These are just 3 segments I made in Blender. And I then blocked out a room with them. This is a room that already existed, and I just wanted to see what the room might look like with these segments around. And I turned off collision with the player. Yeah, it's a start. I don't really like it for a lot of reasons. I'll get more into it in just a little bit, but yeah, that's all the core stuff for today. It's a short day. If you want to listen to me ramble, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, feel free to click off. So yeah, today it was my first time making something modular like this. So it was a pain in the ass. It took me a really long time to figure it out, even though this is a really basic case study. Yeah, I don't know how. I'm a computer scientist at heart. Art is something I can partake in. It is not my profession. So, yeah, just lining up the vertices, lining up the vertices so that they're exactly in line with each other on the on this axis. Figuring out that I had to fix the gaps between the segments that were occurring by causing just the tiniest bit of overlap between the segments. I don't know, I'm used to a world in which I can get the numerically precise answer down to a fraction of a decimal, and this is not that world. This is a very different world, and I am not used to it. So, yeah, it took me a while to get used to this, and I'm still not used to it. And yeah, it's like this. I at least have an idea of what I'm doing now when I want to create more modular pieces like this. I think I can do it a lot quicker this next time around. But yeah, pain in the ass first time. Yeah, I don't like how these walls look right now. There's just lots of problems. I don't really like the flares here or in these corners here. But I feel like I want to do something on that front. Something is desirable, but maybe not this. I don't like the colors. I've tried white, I've tried bluish color. It doesn't feel right, it doesn't resonate with me, not quite. I don't want to use red because red is going to be for the enemies, or at least reddish, but maybe red would be a fine color, I'm not sure. Maybe gold or something, I don't know. That doesn't look right either, and that's, that just looks wrong. It looks like piss. I don't know. I suppose I could try instead desaturating these colors instead of no, it still just looks like piss. Yeah, and I don't want that, so yeah, I don't know. I don't like the thickness of the lines. I need to change that, but any changes to the models means I have to change all 3 models, and that is a pain in the ass right now. There's no easy way to do that. You know, thinking on it, I could try something like Houdini. It would take a lot longer to learn, and overall, like, at the start it would be slower, but procedural model generation would potentially solve some of these problems of, like, having to modify one and then just having to modify all three, because if I want to, you know, if I just want to, like, change the thickness of these guys, like, I need to, like, hey, maybe just pull these guys in and bring them down. Okay, here, this is an angle I can use. Still getting used to editing models. Yeah, I want to do that. Well, if I want to do that, then I need to do that for both of these models too. And I need to line everything up, and that requires being super precise, and so on and so forth. And it's a pain in the ass. So, yeah, I don't know. Houdini is probably not the solution. It's probably a dumb idea. My instinct as a programmer is to make it procedural, make it dynamic, make it programmable. But with art, that just isn't really the, sometimes you just need to put in the work. I don't like the lack of variety. I can sort of get some of the aesthetic, like, it is a bit Tron-esque, where it's like just straight lines, just straight everywhere. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just sort of idling now. I don't like the lack of variety. I want there to be some amount of variety in these. You know, the same way that there's variety in the patterns here. Like, there's only one pattern between all these, but you could see that I could make more of these. I could have like 3 to 5 patterns of the same enemy, and that adds a lot of variety. But there's patterns within the enemy itself. There's asymmetry. The perfection here is not quite the look I'm going for, I think. I want a more natural feel. I don't like the lack of the patterns on the main body part right now. Like, it's a start, it's literally just what I threw together, but I need to put something on that. That does not look right. It looks about the same as these walls here do, and that just does not cut it. Yeah. There's a ton of tiny things I want to try and do. I want to try variations on the sides and corners to spice them up, so, you know, just, especially the sides, like, you have long stretches of side here where it's like, how many individual segments, and, like, you know, you could just have so much variety in here, like so many different little bits and pieces and so on and so forth. And bits of variety would just really spice it up and make it look nicer. There's also a bunch of different variations to try out, again, like thinner lines, different patterns, and so on and so forth. I want to try different highlighting on, like, the inner corners and the outer corners, like these little flares here. To the extent that I have them, I feel like they should get special treatment in that regard. For the inner corners, that part's a bit easier. For the outer corners, not so much, because, you know, it's only this little strip here that I really want to have something special on it. The inner corners, you you can sort of just take the whole thing and do something special there. I did try that out a bit. It does not work well at the moment. Highlights need some kind of motion on them. Like straight lines, again, it has a Tron feeling to it, but I want, same with these lines here on the enemies. There's motion on those lines, there is movement, there is life. It makes it's something, you know, it adds visual interest. I may not want much motion. But you know, if you look at like a Geometry Wars, for example, where's a good example? Like here, like there's lots of motion on the ground, and same basic principle, like variation, motion, something reactive, something that makes it not just a static wall, would be good. I need to hurry through this, otherwise this is going to take like 30 minutes. This won't be, getting motion on the highlights won't be easy. I could maybe use world coordinates and rotations to do something. I could try using vertex colors again, like I did for the patterns on here, for the differing colors on the main bodies and on the highlights. You know, the way that that's handled is through vertex colors, but I don't think that will work this time around, even if I then offset each one individually with its own parameter. I just, my gut feeling on that is that's just not going to work out. Again, I want to try more shading on the wall, something more complex than just, right now there's a loop between like a high color and a low color, or high and dark color, so that the sides are darker than the top part, which I do like. It's better than, because it's unlit right now, so it gives a sense of lighting. It's not enough. There needs to be something more. I do actually like one thing, which is the insetting on the flare in the corner here. I do like that. It's very subtle, but it just looks good and it feels right. Like there is something about that, like that just feels correct to me. So maybe I can use that as a template for like how to approach other aspects of this. So that's something interesting for me, at least. As noted, they just broadly don't look right. They feel too artificial, too gamey, too basic. They don't feel like they were woven by another entity for a purpose. So yeah. Oh yeah, the bottom highlighting, there's highlighting on the bottom parts. That can flicker in and out, which is really bad. If I just edge up here like this, you can just see like, oh, there's just this 1 pixel flicker. And that's really bad. And if it's glowing really brightly, for example, it looks even worse, because it activates the bloom periodically and it just looks absolutely god-awful. And just in general, it, you know, the walls are just problematic. You see a lot of shimmering when you get bright lines like that with the camera motion. I think that may partially be because of the bloom shader itself not being fantastic, but this is bad and I need to not do this. I might want to try transparent walls. That might be more interesting. Hard to say. It might also just yield a bunch of issues, because like I then have to deal with the order of drawing and everything, which there's just problems after problems after problems, and it would probably be fine, but then there might be a case where it's not, and if that happens, then do I just ditch the whole idea, or do I somehow resolve it somehow? I don't know. This might be the time to test it out and, put through a gauntlet of tests and just see, hey, does it bug out at any point? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I also start out by wanting the Modular to be transparent too, and look at where that got me. So that urge may just be a bad urge that I shouldn't listen to. I'm not quite sure. As far as recreating this room goes, a few things I did. I removed the ground. The ground was like that previously, but now I actually have like the Titan shell sort of there, so it's a bit better. The block out of the room was this, which you can see there are a couple differences. Right here, along here, and along here. It didn't block out quite right. Just a few differences that need to be changed just so that everything aligned, because these are all unit meshes basically, so they need to align onto the unit grid, and that just was not what the blockout was like. Which, it's something to keep in mind when blocking out more rooms. I could make a room editor. This could be a big time save in the long run. Once I start getting to the point where I want to make a bunch more rooms, I probably will do this. Right now there's no need for it. It's pretty quick to make a room, but it would be really nice. I would need more segments to make it work properly, and I'd then need to keep all those up to date if I wanted to make any changes, so on and so forth. Total pain in the ass. But yeah, something to definitely consider. I could automate the selection of random segments if there are variants. If I made a room editor, that would be really, really nice. Just being able to have it automatically pick out a random selection of segments and just populate it across here when you just draw out a line. That would be just so nice for development. Another solution might be whenever just have each of the walls be a prefab, and it will randomly select from a segment, and that way you get randomized selection each time you have a room loaded up, which would be another way of handling it, which is not a terrible idea, but you have a bit less control over it. I don't know, variations are a bit out of scope at the moment. Well, not out of scope, that's one way to put it. It's not what I want to be dealing with right at this second. I want to get the base look of the wall correct first. Right now the collision is wonky. Each segment has its own collider on it. I could simplify that, but basic testing showed that doing that just didn't yield any results that were beneficial gameplay wise. If you bump into a wall, for example, right now, you bounce off of it like this, and it's just weird and glitchy. And that's just how that is. Even though the bounciness of the physics material you have is set to 0, you do that for some reason. And that didn't change when you have all these colliders here, even though they ignore the player right now. If I just go ahead and say nothing, and maybe that's just an implication that I want to change the player to use a sphere instead of whatever the mesh collider that it currently has. I don't know. some stuff to think about. I should probably make it less glitchy before release, so that probably involves swapping to having a sphere collider for a wall collision. Anyways, that's everything for today. I am going to take tomorrow off, and from work at least. It's Christmas, and I'm going to do a 1 month retrospective, just sort of think through the day about how everything has gone, what could be better, and so on and so forth, and post that. So there'll be that. Merry Christmas, everyone who is listening right now. I hope the holidays find you well. If you have any comments, questions, ideas, or anything else on your mind, leave a comment below. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.